Okay, I think we've got steady numbers. It looks like people have stopped filtering in, so we'll kick off. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for giving up some of your Monday night to join us for this webinar. Before we start tonight, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the various lands we're all joining from tonight, and also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we're discussing tonight around the Preston Activity Centre, and that's the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And I'd just like to pay my respects to elders past and present, and I extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders on the call with us tonight. My name's Elise. I'm an independent facilitator from RPS, and I'm here tonight to host the information session between you and the VPA on the Preston High Street Activity Centre. And my role tonight is really to keep us to time so that we get you out of here by 7 o'clock, and also to make sure we get through as many of your questions as we can at the end of the presentation. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we kick off. If you do need captions as part of the session tonight, you can actually turn those on yourself on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. So please do that if you need those. The session is being recorded, and that's so that people who couldn't attend the session can watch it back afterwards. You won't be identifiable in the recording, but you'll notice that given the webinar setup, your cameras and mics are set to off. And we've also disabled the chat function. You will, however, be able to interact with us through the Q&A function on the bottom right of your screen. So if you do have a question throughout the session, you might have one already, but please feel free to pop those in anytime throughout the session, and we'll come to those at the end of the presentation. If you're happy to, we would love you to submit your questions under your name rather than anonymously. And that is purely just so that if there's something that you ask that requires us to follow up with you afterwards, we have a way to get in touch with you. Otherwise, we'll need you to resubmit your questions through the email. We'd also like you to use the upvoting function. So you'll be able to see each other's questions in the Q&A there. And if you see a question that is also important to you, you can upvote it by giving it a thumbs up, and that will just allow us to filter the questions and tackle the most important ones to you first. And just finally, a reminder, please, to keep your questions and comments kind and respectful. Our agenda for tonight, we have the VPA here to present to you on their draft plans for Preston. Zoe is going to give us an overview of the broader activity centres program, and also detail the VPA's plans for the Preston High Street area. She'll then explain a little bit about what that means for you, and how you can have your say as part of the engagement that's happening at the moment. And then we'll finish with the Q&A session at the end, and we've got Felicity and Stefan here as well. That's it from me. I'd now like to hand over to Zoe from the VPA, who's going to run us through the plans for Preston. Over to you, Zoe.
Thanks very much, Elise. And hi, everyone. My name is Zoe. I'm a Senior Communications Advisor at the Victorian Planning Authority, and I'm joined by Felicity, who is a planner here at the VPA, and Stefan, who is a planner at the Department of Transport and Planning, who will be helping me answer your questions. So I'd like to talk to you today about the Activity Centre program and what it means for Preston and the Preston High Street Activity Centre. We want to provide all Victorians with the choice of a well-designed home at an affordable price and in a place where they can thrive. And right across Victoria, not enough people have the chance to afford a home that is close to the people and places that they love. We believe that this isn't good enough, and the status quo is not an option. So in September last year, the Victorian government released Victoria's Housing Statement, which is a bold plan to tackle Victoria's housing crisis. There are 39 different initiatives in the housing statement, and the Activity Centres program is one of them. This initiative is about building a future where every Victorian can afford a home that's right for them. And making sure that new homes are well located will allow us to maximise the use of existing infrastructure and transport. So the starting place is to look for places where more homes can be built and the types of homes that we need to suit all kinds of Victorians in all kinds of places. The purpose of the Activity Centre program is to enable about 60,000 homes to be built close to existing services, jobs, and transport in 10 activity centres across Melbourne. In addition to providing new homes, it's also about guiding investment in the things that are growing community needs, like improved streets, parks, and community infrastructure. It's also about creating clearer rules about the types of new development that we need and providing increased certainty to the community about what kinds of new development to expect in your area. It's also about developing a process for creating a clearer and simpler set of planning rules, which can be rolled out across other centres around Melbourne. There are more than 130 activity centres across metropolitan Melbourne, and they range in size and service offering. They're great places for more homes because they have a concentration of services, jobs, and transport. The Activity Centre program will deliver plans for an initial 10 of these 130. Activity centres are great locations for more housing, but they're so much more than that. They're vibrant places where people shop, work, connect with family and friends, as well as live, and they're ideal places to access your daily needs. They range in size from local neighbourhood shopping strips to centres with universities or major shopping malls, and many of them are along Melbourne's iconic high streets such as Chapel Street or Glenferrie Road, or of course High Street in Preston. The initial 10 centres that we're looking at this year represent a range of activity centres of different sizes and service offerings, as well as locations across Melbourne's inner, middle and outer suburbs. Preston High Street is one of our 10 initial activity centres because we know that it's a great place to live. It's an internationally recognised destination for shopping and dining, recently named the world's coolest street by Time Out magazine. We know that High Street and the Preston Market provide locals with walkable access to daily needs and that it's a hub for the multicultural community. Also, the recently elevated Mernda train line, as well as the 86 tram, make it well connected to jobs, schools and services across the city. All of these things make Preston a great location for more homes. You can divide our plans for Preston into two areas, the Preston High Street Activity Centre and the surrounding catchment. The Activity Centre is where you'll find the highest concentration of jobs, services and public transport, and the catchment is the surrounding area where people live within walking distance of those jobs, services and public transport. One area that is not included in our plans is the Preston Market precinct. We know that the Preston Market is the beating heart of the Preston community, and that's why last year the Minister for Planning approved new planning controls for this precinct, including a new heritage overlay to protect the heritage significance of the market. You can find out more about the plans that were approved last year by looking up Amendment C182-DARE to the Darebin Planning Scheme. Because of the significant planning work that has already been done on the Preston Market precinct, we have excluded the precinct from our plans. So in short, our plans do not touch the Preston Market. The area highlighted now is the Preston High Street Activity Centre. When looking at each of our activity centres, one of the first steps was to look at the existing plans for the area. In about half of our initial 10 centres, the local council already has existing plans that allow more homes to be built there, and Preston is one of those. Darebin City Council recently prepared the draft Preston Central Structure Plan, which generally covers the same area as the Preston High Street Activity Centre. Their plan allows heights between 4 and 10 stories in different places throughout the centre. We're working with Darebin City Council to review this draft plan to make sure it will deliver enough of the right types of homes in the right places. We plan to complete our review and implementation of the draft Preston Central Structure Plan by the end of this year, along with the plans for the other activity centres in our program. We're not going to talk in detail about your council's plans today because we didn't prepare them. But if you would like to find out more about the draft Preston Central Structure Plan, the plans are available on the Darebin City Council's website, or you can contact your local council to find out more. This area highlighted now is the catchment around the activity centre. The catchment is the area within walking distance of the local jobs, services and public transport of the centre, but it is not part of the activity centre itself. Unlike the plans for the activity centre, which were prepared by your local council, the plans for the catchment have been prepared by us at the Victorian Government. When working out where the catchment should be, we first looked at places within roughly 800 metres or about a 10-minute walk of the services and transport within the centre. We then excluded areas that aren't appropriate to be in the catchment, like protected environmental areas or places that might be part of a different planning project in the future. Building more homes in the catchment within walking distance of local jobs, services, and transport is a common sense way to create a more lively, inclusive, and sustainable local community. It will also provide an opportunity for more housing diversity, including high-quality social and affordable housing. Our plans will make sure that we build the right types of homes in the catchment in the places where they fit best. Small apartment buildings between 3 to 6 stories will be built here over time, mixed with townhouses and existing homes. Only the largest blocks of land in the catchment will be able to build up to 5 or 6 stories. Smaller blocks will only be able to build up to 3 or 4 stories, and some homes and buildings may not change at all. We've heard from the community that vibrant places with green parks and local community facilities are important to support housing growth. Preston already offers a lot of community services and infrastructure, including schools, libraries, health centres, and sports facilities, as you can see on this map. But as more people call Preston home, we want to make sure that the Victorian government and your local council can continue to invest in these things. We are exploring options for a new and simplified approach for funding infrastructure. This new approach could provide direct contributions for councils and state government to deliver essential infrastructure. We're seeking community input on the types of infrastructure that matter most to you to help us shape what this new funding approach could look like. We have a question about this on our survey on Engage Vic, so if there are any specific upgrades to local infrastructure that you would like to see in your area, please do let us know. We also want to reduce barriers to building new homes and create more certainty for councils, developers, and communities within the activity centre. We are introducing a new tool called a deemed to comply standard, which will relate to things like building heights, street wall heights, and setbacks. If a planning application for a new building meets our new deemed to comply standards, it will benefit from a streamlined planning approval pathway, which could include the removal of notice and review requirements. If a proposed new development within the activity centre follows our clear new rules, the council cannot use heights or setbacks as a reason to refuse the development. This provides more certainty and can prevent having to go to VCAT, saving time and money. This streamlined new process is designed to improve investment conditions and get more homes built faster. However, it would only apply within the activity centre and not in the catchment. Within the catchment, normal planning processes, including notice and review, will still apply. Once our plans are in place, Preston will slowly change over the next few decades, providing the homes that we need between now and 2051. We expect larger and unused blocks of land will develop first because they provide the best opportunities to deliver new homes soonest. Other areas like streets with lots of existing homes on smaller blocks will develop more slowly or may experience very little change at all. So what does this mean for you? Well, first and foremost, our new rules do not require anyone who lives or owns property in Preston to do anything. Once our plans are in place, landowners in Preston will have clear new rules to follow if you want to build new homes on your land. Each landowner can decide if and when they want to build new homes, and if you don't want to change anything on your property, you don't have to. However, landowners will have more opportunities to build more different types of homes if they want to. So over time, you might see more homes being built in your neighbourhood and more people joining your community. In turn, this will mean more customers and opportunities for local businesses and generally a more lively and vibrant community. It also means that more Victorians will have the chance to find a home that's right for them. We know the Preston community has provided a lot of feedback over the past few years about the future of your area. Darebin City Council has done a lot of work to make sure that the draft Preston Central Structure Plan can help deliver the new homes that we need, while also considering the needs and priorities of the local community. Also, the Preston community has been loud and clear about the importance of the Preston market, which is why it is now protected with a heritage overlay. This is why we are not reopening the conversations about the draft Preston Central Structure Plan or the Preston Market Precinct in this consultation. However, we do want to hear from you about the new things that we're introducing through the Activity Centre program. That includes our plans for the catchment, our potential new approach for infrastructure funding and your local infrastructure needs, and our streamlined new planning process. Your feedback is important, and now you have the chance to have your say. So once you've read our draft plans, please visit Engage Vic to complete our survey and share your thoughts. Our survey is open until the end of the day on Sunday, the 29th of September. Once our survey closes, we will analyze the feedback we receive and use it to finalize our draft plans with the aim to implement them by the end of this year. I know that was a lot that I just ran through, so all of that information is also available on EngageVic along with our survey, and a recording of this presentation will be made available there as well.